Hi everyone! Today I'm going to show you how to use the MCA Suite submission feature. This is the feature that allows you to broker out or send deals as submissions to your funders in your network for them to review and possibly make offers on. The first step to using the submission feature is to create your funder companies as contacts in the CRM. So I'm going to go through the process of creating a sample funder company record with you. The quickest way to create a new company is to use the right-hand floating dashboard here, which is on every page of the CRM, and click on the first button to add a company. So this is our company add/details page. I'm going to go ahead and create a sample funding company called Tigress Funding. DBA will be the same, and I'm going to make sure to select funder as the contact type. Contact type always very important when you're creating a new contact to make sure that you give it the correct contact designation. And that's it. I could add more information, obviously, if I had phone numbers or website information, but for this purpose, I only need the name and the contact type, and I'll click on Save. What is unique and important about funder company contacts is that they have a unique side navigation tab called Submission Profile. No other contact type will have this tab. So brokers, merchants, investors, you won't see the Submission Profile tab in their company details page, and that's because a funder requires submission details in order for you to be able to send out an application for them to review. So the first thing you want to make sure that you include is an email address where the submission would go to. I'm going to write one. As well as to create a password for them. This is important because there are actually three ways to send a submission, but there are two that require emails. The first is to use an email and an attachment option, in which case you would need an email address. The second is to use an email and a link option, in which case you would also need an email address, but in addition you need a password in order for the funder to be able to log into a link that's included, which is a secure link where all the information about the deal is kept, and they need a unique password in order to do that. You can either ask them what they would want their password to be or assign them one and then just let them know. But either way, you need to record that password here. So I'm going to create a sample one. I'll just call this Tigress 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there's also a section here for underwriting guidelines. If you wanted to write a little essay about what this particular funder requires when he or she is evaluating an application, you can do so here for your agents to have as reference. I've added an email address and a password, so I'm all good to go. I'm going to click on Save. And so now this funder is ready to receive a submission should I choose to send it to him. Next, we're going to go through the process of actually sending a submission from inside a deal. Here's the deal that I want to work with for this demonstration. It's called Koala Toy Store Deal 1. I'm going to click on the link to take me to the deal. Inside a deal, as long as you have the Submissions tab enabled, you'll see on the left-hand navigation bar, there is a tab called Submissions. When you're ready to send your submission, click on that tab. And you'll need to select your submission type. As I mentioned, there are three ways to send a submission. The first is manual. You would use this option if you are submitting to a funder that uses some kind of online portal where you just need to record the fact that you've sent a submission to that funder and then just enter in the offer as it comes to you from the funder. If you want to email the submission through the CRM, the two options you can choose are either email and attachments and email and a link. As I explained, email and attachments will send the submission application as an email with attachments. So whatever documents you want to send along with the submission, they would appear as attachments to the email. If you want to use a method that is a bit more secure, or if the attachments that you have are too large, you'll want to use the email and link option. This works in a very similar way to email and attachments, except that the funder has to log in to a secure link in order to view the deal information and the supporting documents. That's why when we set up the funding company, we needed to include a password because that's the password that funder will use to log into his link. First, I'm going to show you how to do the email and attachments option. I'm going to click on that from the drop-down menu and then click on Add. Okay, so this screen shows you a list of all the funder companies you have in your system. In order for a funding company to appear on this list, however, you need to make sure that you input an email for them on that Submission Profile tab. So here are all the funders in our CRM that have an email attached to them. I'm going to pick the funder that I want to work with. If you want to do a blast of multiple funders, you can easily do that. Just make sure that you use the Control Select method to select multiple funders, then you can add them all. I'm going to go ahead and remove these, however, because I don't want to send to all of these funders. I want to send to a particular one, and that was the one we created called Tigers Funding. Okay, now here's a section for available files. These are going to be the files that you send along with the submission. The files that populate here will be whatever files you've uploaded to either your documents pages or your checklist pages. The documents pages, which is basically the underwriting portion of the CRM, and also the document repository, and also your underwriting checklist page, all have sections where you can upload attachments to do with whatever information you're adding. So for example, signed applications, credit reports, driver's licenses, etc. Those are all the kinds of documents you can upload to either the Documents tab or the Checklist tab. Whatever you upload to these tabs will appear in the Available Files box down here, and then you can select which files you want to send along with your submission. I'm going to send these two along with my submission email. Scroll down. Down here is an area for you to include any kind of a message that will appear in the email that the funder receives. If you select email template type as custom, that just means you can create a brand new message that you type into this text editor that will appear in the email. If, however, you want to select a stored template, select email template as the option, and then select the name of the email template you want to use. The way email templates work, let's just go over that, is that in the admin setup templates page, there is an area for you to create sample templates. So these are basically generic boilerplate kind of emails that you want to have on hand for whenever you are ready to send out a particular email from MCA Suite. So you can create, for example, a submission email template. Let's click on it. That will just show the kind of generic language that you want to have on hand for whenever you send out a submission email. So you can see our template language populated to the text box. You can edit as you would like. This is straightforward text editor. If you want to automatically include your email signature, you would just click on this checkbox here that says email signature. Where you set up your email signature is in your My Account link right here. So for example, if I go to My Account link, down here is where you can set up your email signature to include your title, all your phone numbers. You can edit it, style it as you would like. So that's where you set up your email signature. Let's go back to our submission page. So then when you click on the checkbox here, that signature will appear in the email the funder receives. Okay, so now I've selected my funder, Tigers Funding, and I have selected the files that will appear along with the submission, and I am happy with the email message the funder will receive, and my email signature will be included. Once you're happy with all of those selections, click on Send. Okay, so now you can see that we've recorded the fact the submission was sent. The submission was sent to Tigers Funding as an email with attachments. So now to check the email as if I were a funder, I'm going to go into my email client, and you can see the submission email is right there with the subject New Submission and then the name of the merchant. I'm going to click on it, and you can see that again the customized email template that I used populates right there, as well as my customized email signature, and the two attachments that I selected to include with the email are right here as attachments. So that's how the email and attachment method for sending a submission works. Now we're going to do the email and the link method. I'm going to select email and link as an option, click on Add, and again it's the same sort of setup page as email and attachments. I'm again going to choose the funder that I want to send to. In this case it's Tigers Funding. I'm going to choose the files I want to send with the submission. In this case I'm going to choose all of them. Once again I'm going to choose my customized email template for submissions. The subject again is New Submission and then the name of the merchant. And I'm going to check to make sure that my email signature is included with the submission. Once I'm happy with all of these selections, I'll click on Send. So now we've shown that Tigers Funding has received a submission via an email and a link method. To check the email as if I were the funder, I'm going to go into my email client, and the email is there with the customized message, and you can see my customized signature is there as well, but now instead of the attachments appearing as attachments on the email, I see a View Files link. I'm going to click on that, Here's where I'm prompted to enter the password that you assigned for the funder in the password field on the submission profile page. So here's where that password comes into play. Make sure that either the funder let you know what password they want to use, or you've let them know what password you've assigned to them. In this case, I believe it was Tigers with a capital T, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And yep, that worked. So you can see the deal information appears here. You have some merchant information as well as the relevant files that we've uploaded along with the submission. So all of the files that I selected when I sent the submission appear here as links. I'll just click on them to download to be able to view them. So those are the two main ways that you can send a submission as an email through the CRM, either as an email with attachments or email via a link. Let's go back to our submissions. To actually edit offers that come back to you from the funder, what you would do, let me refresh the submission page. So here's going to be the submission page that shows all the submissions that you sent to the various funders. So far, we've only sent to one funder for this deal. To now edit it, to enter in offers, I'm going to click on the edit button, which takes me to the submission details page. This gives you a snapshot of the funder you sent it to, and if you sent it to a particular contact inside of the funder, that contact name would appear here. To actually add an offer that has come back to you from the funder, you would go to the offer section here, click on add, and let's say that Tiger's funder reviewed the deal and agreed to fund it for $15,000 at 20% to give us an $18,000 payback, and their term is 120 days. So that's their offer. You can put in multiple offers from the same funder for the same submission. Let's say that they're also willing to do $11,000 at 30%, but for a 90-day term, it needs to be paid back. Click on save. So that's an additional offer that came back to us from the same funder for the same deal. The funding stipulations area here works similar to the underwriting checklist tab here, which basically you can determine the funder stipulations or what else they require in order to evaluate the merchant. So if what you sent over was insufficient or if they require more, you can enter here what else they need in order to review the deal and decide if they want to place an offer on it. So let's, for example, they need more bank statements going back for 1 year, let's say, or they require 3 more references. Whatever it is, whatever their funding stipulations are, you can define them here and then track if you've sent them along to the funder for additional review. Submission status here works similar to deal status in that you define your submission statuses. You can do that from the admin setup application configuration page. So the submissions tab here is where you can define statuses that address just the submission. So whereas you have deal statuses to kind of monitor your workflow when it comes to your deal, you can create a microcosm of that for just the submission. So you can create statuses that relate just to the submission. Submitted, accepted, rejected are just examples that we have. So from the submission area here, you can add a note to update the status of the submission. So for example, let's say that this is under review because they require more stipulations. And you can make a note, require 6 months more bank statements. Send ASAP. So now this is the current status of the submission. You can select if you want someone to be alerted to this fact. So for example, the agent's working on the submission. You want to email them and let them know that this is the current status of the submission and that they need to do something additional in order to move it along. You can select their name from this list here. This is going to populate with all of the usernames for your CRM. But I don't want to email this out to anybody. I'll just click on save. And so now the current status of the submission is more stipulations. Okay, so now let's say that the merchant has selected one of the offers that came back from the funder. To select that offer and actually call that offer funded in the CRM, you're going to find it here. We'll say it's this $15,000 one at 20%. Click on select. A modal window pops up that allows you to choose your submission status. So you should have funded as one of your submission statuses. So you can pick funded, for example, here. And now we'll say funded on 3/24, which is tomorrow. This will be funded tomorrow. Choose a funding date. This is going to be the advance amount, factor, and payback that copy over from the offer. Origination fee is a required field, but you can just put in 0 if there is no origination fee. And now we're going to click on save. So you can see a little message alert pops up here telling us, are you sure the merchant has been funded? Please note that any additional changes cannot be made if you click OK. And we ask you that because this is calling this deal funded in the CRM. This is the way that we're going to call it funded and tracked in the system. So as long as all of this information is correct, the merchant has been funded under these terms, we're going to click OK. And so now the selected offer is highlighted here in orange, and we have a deal tracking page, which we didn't before, because now this deal is tracked or funded in the system. So you can see it copies over the offer information that we selected, the $15,000 at 20% to give us 18, the actual funding information, which shows the funded date, and the net out. If you want to change any of this and say that actually there were administrative fees, you can do so there. Click on Save, and now our net advance has adjusted. And then here will be the post-funding details that if you're brokering out the deal, you won't be too interested in because you're not actually paying attention to the transactions, but that's what this section is letting you know. The post-funding details that show balances paid back, amount paid back, balances outstanding, any fees or discounts added to the deal, etc. will be in this section here. But basically, this deal has been funded, which is why we show you the deal tracking page. You would go ahead now and update the status of the deal. To do that, select the second button down here, which is Add a Note. Make sure that funded is one of your deal statuses, so we'll choose it here. And we can make a note, funded by Tivers funders on 3/24. If you want to let anyone know of this information, you can select their name from the email to list, but I'm not going to do that. I'll just click on Save. And so now this deal is called funded in our CRM because we have brokered it out to a funder. And that's basically how the submission feature works. If you have any questions about submissions or any of the features on MCA Suite, please visit our support site at support.mcasuite.com. Thanks.